Hi and welcome to week 4 of being stage manager for Fen. This week, due to clashes in schedule between the director and the production team, we were unable to complete our weekly meeting updating the director. We got around this, however, by emailing her updates and making sure that we were still communicating with her. This is really important as there were new costume designs that we needed her opinion on and feedback to make sure that some of the changes the set designer had made still worked within her vision. It's really important to be in constant communication with the director as we are portraying her vision, and if certain aspects don't fit into her vision, it's important that she can communicate that to us. This was also our first week being able to see each other physically due to COVID-19 restrictions being lifted and being able to have meetings in person. This means that I could physically see the department's designs all together and they could explain more thoroughly than you can previously online. During all of these meetings, we all wore masks and social distancing was maintained at all times. This was successful. I was able to fully see the designs all together. This meant that I was able to see if we were meeting the director's vision. At the start of the week, we had a site visit to the Old Rep Theatre, where the shows needed to be performed. This is really important as I needed to figure out certain aspects of props, like how much space there are in the wings for the retractor to be stored. This came to me working out that the amount of space on stage left is really limited, so this tractor would always have to come off stage right, and would always have to be stored there. Another section I had to work out was the orchestra pit, as an actor gets pushed into there during the production. This was mainly to work out the health and safety of this particular area, as I really needed to work out if it would work or whether or not it would be able to put a crash mat to make sure that the actor falls safely. Overall, the site visit was very informative and was very successful, as I could physically measure the areas that I needed to and work out the sizing of big prop pieces. Once I completed the site visit, my attention turned to creating all the risk assessments that I would need for all the different departments in the whole production process. This was really important as I identified some of the risks from the site visit and making sure I was working out how to reduce those risks to keep the whole company safe. I made sure to complete the risk assessments thoroughly to make sure that all the risks I had identified were reduced and that there were things in place to keep everybody in the company safe. I also had a meeting with the other stage managers this week, creating a COVID-19 specific risk assessment, as due to current events in the world, we need to make sure that we are sticking to the current guidelines. We decided to have one COVID-19 risk assessment for all the shows to make sure that all the productions are COVID safe. This is really important as it means that the same restrictions are on all of the productions, and it means that there's no confusion between the actors about what they are and aren't allowed to do. This also means that we are able to work out how to keep the bubble separated between the crew and the cast during the rehearsal period. Also this week we started to put our production boards together. These boards that we put together are all the designs, prop lists, sound effects, physical paperwork that would be helpful for the whole production team to see. The reason you do this is so we can see all the designs work together to create a cohesive production portraying the director's vision. It also means that if anyone in the production team needs to look at a particular final design, they can just look at the board rather than having to keep emailing members of the production team and waiting for responses. This overall slowing down the production process. It is important that we keep adding to this board and keeping it up to date with any changes. This makes sure that the production team are always looking at the most current designs and information so that they do not get confused. The final thing I completed this week was thinking about my targets for next week. I created one personal development target. This was to make sure that I'm upskilling myself as a stage manager, and one production target. This is where I should be by the end of the week in the production process. My personal development target was to learn the prompt desk at the Old Rep. This is because I'll be using this during the production to call the show, so I need to make sure I'm fluent using the desk so it goes successfully and I won't get stressed while at the actual production process. My production target is by the end of next week to have all of the final budget sheets finished and would have communicated this with my production manager. This is so that the production team can then start sourcing and we know our budget. And that is what I did as stage manager for Fen.